everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the miniseries Echo on Disney+. And this is the newest Marvel TV show miniseries thing, fuck-a-da-doo-da. And I didn't enjoy it. I don't think it's very well done. I can understand why they dropped all 5 at once, because it is still following the Marvel TV streaming formula of chopping up a movie into parts and waiting till the end for the superhero to get their super suit. And they did not do a good job with Echo in this. Like, you kind of get an understanding of her character, but like, it's so thin, it's just kind of crazy. It's just, especially as we rush towards the ending of figuring out what to do. It's just, ugh. And it doesn't help that the first episode is like the longest, and then they kind of start getting shorter and shorter until you get to the end, and it's a 37-minute episode. At least according to what Disney Plus says. And the first episode is detailing of trying to figure out and say who this character is, splicing an image, stuff from Hawkeye, to get people to be like, okay. And the biggest issue is there are some good aspects to this miniseries. However, it all comes back down to execution and what's kind of going on. I understand getting into the Choctaw connection with her and what's kind of going on, and understanding her family in Oklahoma, but we've learned of her as a New York City person, and she's continuing to battle Fisk, and it just seems weird for her to be continuing this from Oklahoma, and what kind of goes on with that. And evidently, granted, there is crazy technology, but she shot Fisk in the eye and he was fucking okay. And the thing is, he doesn't lose the eye. He's got like some kind of healing tech or whatnot, and all he's got are like scars. Like, she shot him in the fucking eye, but the eyeball's alright. Now, I understand that you want to be like, oh, we gotta watch out. We don't want to do weird-ass prosthetics or whatnot, because it can get time-consuming and money-consuming and everything. But I mean, Thor lost an eye and they gave him a cybernetic eye. It's just like consequences for actions and everything. And also, like, the first 3 episodes begin you at weird fucking parts, like, that you really don't have a connection to what's kind of going on until it gets pretty much towards the end, and you're like, that's it? There's better ways to have put this in, because we learn about the origins of the Choctaw people. There's this weird kind of crazy looking cave thing, and this woman drinks this shit and gets squiggly hands, but like fucking squiggly things in her palms, and then this cave starts coming down, and then her and her people get out, and the shit falls off from their skin, and then they've somehow got clothes, and she is the first Choctaw and leads her people and everything. And then we start seeing other kind of stuff, like in 1200 AD Alabama or whatnot, with the Choctaw versus the Cherokee in this like sporting thing. And it's like, alright, how's this connected? And then we get into like the 1800s with the Light Horsemen, and this one woman who wanted to be one, but her father's like, no, and then she actually helps them out, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, she's got some kind of like Captain Boomerang level kind of shit with like a stick, and I'm like, what the fuck does any of this have to do with anything? Because I had looked at Echo a little bit and saw that she could like echo people's like physical movements and stuff and get that kind of shit down, similar to kind of Taskmaster in the comic books. Also kind of similar to what we've gotten in the MCU. But the MCU one's kind of a little bit what? But evidently she's able to echo shit from like her ancestors, which kind of gives her more of a power boost. However, in the comics she got the Phoenix Force, so Alright, but the thing is, I thought this was more to be kind of street level and her dealing with stuff, and I thought she was gonna go for a more heroic route. However, after we get her kind of set up and everything and seen everything in Tamaha, her objective is to take over Fisk's stuff and become the queen of that kind of empire. And I'm like, you an asshole, what the fuck? She pretty much comes in and like shit kicks Henry, who is the person that kind of like set her father up with like the Fisk kind of shit. And we learn a little bit of that. Like the best kind of characters I saw were like her grandpa, her grandma, and her cousin Biscuits. And evidently she's got a close relationship with Bonnie, but like that was when she was taken away with her father to New York to do stuff for the Kingpin. And that was in like 2007 or whatnot. And it's like, okay. Because we see that she left, her and her father left because somebody cut the brakes on her father's truck. And on a night when it was raining and they wanted hot chocolate, the mother took Maya with her. The brakes were cut. They got smashed in and T-boned. And the mother died. And that's where Maya lost her leg. And they kind of leave. And the thing is, I understand that Maya kind of comes off more as the person of few words, doesn't really say much, doesn't really talk that much, because she does more kind of action. The action scenes in this are actually very good, and only minimal ones where it goes a little bit weird. We see that in, like, her fighting Daredevil, which was actually a really good fight sequence, because she's being brought up with Kingpin, she gets her first kill, and she goes completely kind of Hambo, and then she's fighting Daredevil, and that was actually pretty cool. Really kind of interesting, too, because she's deaf, and he's blind. How do they communicate? Well, they don't really communicate, because Daredevil's just kind of pissed off that Fisk's goons came in, he was watching these people, and then they start getting killed and everything. He's like, fuck me! And that's the extent of what we get with Daredevil. But then we learn about the whole thing with her father being killed because of Hawkeye as Ronin during the blip, and how more of that kind of role is taken over by Kingpin, utilizing an interpreter, and then eventually killing the interpreter because of everything that she would potentially know. Kingpin is at least set up as a decent kind of antagonist of what's kind of going on. Really is more interested in bringing Maya back into the fold because he views her as a daughter and doesn't want to lose her to that. Granted, I wish there was more time and actual stuff devoted on that, but instead we have to then juggle everything of seeing her grandfather in a shop doing weird and kind of crazy stuff, but that was actually more enjoyable to me. That evidently the whole thing going on with her father and her staying in New York instead of coming back has created more of a rift, and they are separated. Bonnie tried to get in contact with her after her father died, but Maya just stayed in New York and did the shit that she did. We see her do a lot of this stuff and choose a lot of the stuff that Fisk did and choose violence and all that. And then at the end we get her choosing not violence. It's really kind of strange because we see her doing most of that, and it's just almost like at the 11th hour, alright, she's changed and everything and is going to be okay because we have to have a plot dump and plot convenient MacGuffin thing to kind of work out to actually get us there. It's like, God damn it, you could have done decent with this. Like, it's all execution. It's poorly executed, and it's just like, God damn it. This actually put me to the point where I'm like, I'm done with Marvel's TV stuff unless they get this shit sorted, because this could have just been like 2 hours instead of fucking 5 episodes that are supposed to be billed at like 45 minutes, but then completely and utterly keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter. But let's see. Like, her main thing is she gets to Tamaha, she wants help from her from the Henry dude. He's like, fuck that noise, I don't want to get involved in this shit. She then gets her cousin Biscuits to help out, and she puts a bomb in this stuff, and it goes to Fisk stuff. It blows up a thing there. This one dude pops up because this other dude, like, sold her ass out. We get a fight sequence in a roller rink. Mole dude gets, not Mole, dude who turns the ring gets killed, and then Fisk pops up and tries to be like, stay with me, work with me. Trying to do Sunday night dinners on Thursday, and she just pours out the bottle of wine. He got her favorite cookies, and like, instead of even really eating dinner, he's like, I'm going to be leaving for New York. I want you on the plane, and I want you to take over. I'll give you this empire. It's like, shot you in the fucking eye? And her most plan after doing that is just to go to the place she hasn't been for like 20 years and then send a bomb back to your shit to blow up shit in your empire. I don't even know what and why she wants the empire. We don't get anything from her for that. And you need that. I don't really know her motivations other than it's just to cause drama and conflict with everybody else in Tamaha. And we see that the grandmother pretty much made this thing that was pretty much suit-wise for, I guess, like her mother. But we see that it's Echo's superhero suit at the end. And at the end, oh my god, we learn that she's called Echo not because she can echo the physical movements of stuff, but that because of the legend of the Choctaw, past generations echo throughout the women of the Choctaw Nation, and that you can just get the powers that other people had because her mother could heal things. And she's an asshole as a kid because she took a fucking slingshot and fucking shot a woodpecker down. It's like, oh yeah, fucking like, something went wrong with it. And her mom's like, you did this. Why the fuck would you do this? And then pretty much being that like it's a friend to the Choctaw people that it would warn people about like danger nearby, and then we get that shit literally happening the next couple scenes, telling her to pretty much go back to the Choctaw powwow because Fisk is going to kill and Rampage because he has been denied. And he also brings up that he does violence, and the thing is it's really weird because he's like, I thought you saw me as heroic, and then she calls him out as a monster that he killed or like went after his dad with a hammer because he was beating his mother. And he's like, go ahead, do it, bring the circle full clothes. And she's like, nah, fuck that shit. And then it's like, okay, mostly up until most of this point you've chosen violence. I want to know why you're not really choosing it. Granted, I don't want her to choose violence, but as the character and everything kind of going on here, we need to understand why that's going on. And then we see her pretty much that she talked to her grandmother and then bring the whole kind of Echo thing. And then she talks to her mother because it's like, what? But the thing is, we don't have any lead up to that. Her mother just pops up and like, let me heal you. Ooh, it's like, what? And then, okay, so she suits up. She goes to the powwow. We see that Fisk's men are everywhere. The dude that is pretty much an asshole, who was actually from Hell on Wheels as well, has a rocket launcher. The Henry dude snipes him with like a silenced pistol that nobody sees. Like her and him and Maya go around with these guns and shit, and nobody's like batting a fucking eye. Like, I don't mean people need to be like immediately like, ah shit, they got guns, but it's like, why the fuck? Like, it's be like, what the fuck are you doing? Because she's like going around like, whatever. And then Fisk is like, fuck you. And she utilized, there's some Echo thing that like gets her grandma and Bonnie to fucking have powers, and they like beat some of the goons up. And Maya somehow gets her mother's healing power and then goes inside Fisk's head and tells him to let go of shit from his father. And he's like, what the fuck did you do to me? It's like, I don't know how the fuck she even did this. I'm like, I understand changes and adaptations for powers and everything, and you have to be careful with certain kind of street level heroes. Spider-Man works out. Like Spider-Man and Captain America, they would be considered street level heroes. Now granted, Cap goes and fights way above his weight class, but so does Spidey. So does Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Echo. But just pulling random shit out, it's just like, alright, it was like when I saw Shang-Chi, and it's like, now we've got the 10 rings. Now granted, I did like that they switched them from like finger rings to like, martial arts rings, but then it's like, he's got powers now, and he had to fight like it was the escalation up to, we don't need to get to fucking super giant levels. Kingpin is a great enough threat, and Maya has the skills and everything she needs to take his ass out. Understand where you're kind of going, otherwise we get into power escalation problems, which Supernatural and Dragon Ball have problems with. It's like, what's the next big bad? What's the next big thing? What's the next big power up to kind of get through? And it didn't make any sense that she suddenly got all these powers and then somehow was able to like bring it in out of other people to just do it. It just happened because the plot needed it, and it was just like, it it confounded me. And it was especially like, this is the last one, I'm gonna plot dump on your ass, cause the plot demands it. Oh, God. And then we got the thing that, at the end, that Fisk is pretty much flying home, and that we get the New York mayor race, pretty much posing us up for Kingpin as the mayor of New York. Happens in the comics, interesting development. However, it feels like we're just getting into that too fast and just be like, oh yeah, we gotta do this and set this up and do. It's like, oh, okay. Like, it just doesn't feel right, and it doesn't feel well executed. It feels like we're trying to bum rush to certain kind of stuff. And it's like, Fisk becoming mayor of New York City is an important event, especially in the comics, because he then institutes laws outlawing superheroes. That's a big development. It's just like, alright, fine. So, if you don't watch this series, which there's better things out there, you're not going to know that happens. Unless they keep doing what they're doing, and they have to like set that up, which I hope that they're able to do that effectively and not have it feel forced, like what was going on with Echo in the first episode here, of like trying to balance people not knowing who Echo is and people who know Echo because they watched Hawkeye. And it's like, oh God. It just, Marvel's TV strategy is not working. Marvel's movie strategy at this point is not working either. Granted, the TV show portion, in my opinion, is not working on a greater degree than what's going on with the movies. The movies, they don't have a plan of what's kind of going on, and then they're trying to do stuff with Kang, and it's all just... Sometimes you take a little break, and you set up new characters, and then you build your arc from there. It worked well enough in the initial phases of Marvel, because they didn't know what was going to work. They're like, let's just make Iron Man and see what kind of happens. And then they kind of built from there, because the rest of the movies and everything kind of followed. But you need at least a kind of basic outline of what's going on. Building up to Kang in the multiverse should have been, in my opinion, the end point of the movie series. Like your third phase to kind of close out and then reset characters and everything. But still put like characters. Shang-Chi deserved better. The Eternals deserve better. God. God. Spidey deserved better. Shit. But this character and learning about the Choctaw and everything would have been awesome. I loved Biscuits and what he was doing, because he got weird shit. Like, he fucked up the car. He got it turned into a monster truck and did some shit. I liked the grandfather and how different kind of funny he was. Like, if you do watch this series, I would definitely recommend seeing him, because he doesn't come off as like the copy of like Tony Stark that they're like, hey, Tony's humor worked, let's kind of do that with everybody else. No, Tony and Spidey are at least level enough to be kind of quippy assholes. I would say that Peter Quill is a more snarky douchebag, which works off. Thor has miscommunications of what kind of goes on with humans. Cap, of course, is the kind of straight man, and then seeing him kind of evolve and have his own kind of drier humor is cool, and that's awesome. But you don't want everybody to be Tony Stark funny. The grandfather Scully in here is his own brand of funny. I love seeing him kind of work and do kind of crazy ass shit. Same with Biscuits. It's really weird that these the side characters have better kind of things for me than the main characters. But I do like seeing the aspects of the Choctaw people, understanding and everything like that. I just think it needed to be woven in better and better executed within the story of what's going on, because the plot is basic as shit, and it leads to pacing issues when you essentially take something that's pretty much like a movie and chop it into 5 episodes. That's what Marvel has done on all of their TV shows. It's maddening at this point, and I understand that they're going to change that up, but it's like, I would almost say that they need to hit pause, have maybe like a year or two without putting any content out, give everybody a rest and a break, and like let them figure out stories, characters, get everything firing on all cylinders. This is the kind of COD effect. I just think it's kind of buck wild that it's happened with movies and TVs like this, but Marvel needs to retool what's going on with their shows and actually make TV shows where episodes can, yes, build on things, but they're well paced enough that it's not like you've chopped up a movie and like, here you go. Alright. And I understand that we're going to have issues with the movies because everything that's going on with Kang's actor and everything, but honestly, if they're still going to go with Kang, he is the perfect character to have a recast and make it make sense. Just say that everything you were dealing with were fucking, they weren't the true Kang the Conquerors. You know what I mean? Like, and that's fucking what it works with Kang anyway. If they go another kind of route and decide to just have the multiverse percolating in the background and kind of do some other kind of thing and just be like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to do Doctor Doom or whatnot. Cool. I bring these up because this is a complete exemplary case of what's kind of going on with Marvel's kind of stuff at the moment. I'm frustrated with it, but I still like Marvel. I still like the MCU. I like the characters and everything that can go out. What they were doing adaptation-wise, yes, hits and misses. Thor Dark World's like, what? Malekith was not well done at all. Chewing the Mandarin and Adrian in Iron Man 3, it just needed a little bit of work execution-wise, though I don't think that's like the worst kind of one. Age of Ultron was a waste of Ultron. Fuck. Civil War was at least better done than what was done in the comics, because a lot of weird-ass shit could have went down. But Marvel needs to retool their content pipeline, because more does not equal better. Now, granted, doing a movie once every decade, I'm not advocating for that either. I'm not saying don't to stop making movies. It's get a better cadence, make sure everybody is firing on their correct cylinders. Don't overwork your writers, don't overwork your VFX artists, don't overwork your showrunners and everything. Get into a nice production groove, get your people in a nice spot, and get it working. And if things start going wrong, cut back and retool, refocus, and understand what's kind of going on. Because this was just the prime example of like, yep, I'm going to pretty much wait to see what kind of goes on. Though, granted, it's stupid because now it's essentially become TV again with these things. Because it's like, oh, we're going to pop this off at 9 p.m. It's like, alright, then why isn't this just on TV? If I need to make an appointment for it, can you just put it on TV, just do TV or whatnot? Granted, there are certain advantages of streaming of that you can pause, rewind, and everything like that, which you can't really do that with TV. But we're essentially at streaming is now kind of worse TV, where things will disappear, your internet will go funky, you're now even getting ad breaks. We're getting fucking ads and commercials back into this shit, and it's like, sorry, there's a lot of crazy ass stuff in this. Now, I would not recommend this. If you're really into the character, go for it. I believe the action scenes are done well enough that they're pretty kind of cool. I do like some of the music choices that they did. I mean, Rob Zombie's Dragula was cool to see. Maya taking out some baddies too. And there's cool kind of stuff with the secondary characters, but otherwise, I don't see this adding really much at all other than the stinger at the end of Fisk going for mayor of New York. And that's probably going to be dropped, has to be dropped, because I don't think this is going to be watched by a lot of people, and that they're going to have to learn that Fisk is going for that somehow. And granted, it's going to probably be a big plot point for Daredevil, but I hope that they retool Daredevil to be more like the Daredevil Netflix show. Now, granted, we have learned that the Netflix shows have now been reintroduced as canon, at least to what okay, caveat that, at least to what I have last read, because fuck all knows what that means anymore of information on certain kind of things, at least to my knowledge, to what I last read at that point. So at some point, I will definitely watch those, at least because I heard that they're good, and I would like to see what goes on with that, especially Daredevil. I watched, I think, one season of Punisher. I know, I'm a really weird kind of dude, because it, like, popped off, and it was like, oh, I'll check this out and see what's going on with this. But, there we go. Like, action-wise, I could at least recommend this for some of the action scenes, but you don't even really get a fight with her and Kingpin at the end. She uses her ancestral healing powers, and then she goes to a family dinner. And that's it. So I wouldn't recommend it for really... if you're going for characters, it's only the secondary characters, and you only get so much of them, so I'd really only recommend this to action people, and a little bit there if you're like bored and you want to kind of see the secondary characters. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend this. And I don't like saying that. And if you enjoyed this and had fun with it and really liked the characters and everything, yes, 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 I'm happy for you. I'm glad for that. I always want to make that clear. I don't say these things to piss off the people that like it. That's never my intention and goal. If you like it, that's awesome. I don't like taking that from people. It's just these are the problems I have with it, and that's it. And don't mind that if you like it and enjoy it. So you're like, yeah, fine, cool, do you. Yeah, I just like to have discussions, and if you're able to help me see why you like it, that's cool. But it's not really going to help me with the structural issues of how Marvel makes the TV shows like this. Yeah. So those are my opinions on the miniseries. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.